Hard to believe with half the season gone already for the 1UP Turbo Truck Series, but this is the first time all season that these truck drivers will be turning right. It is our first road course race of the season, race number 11 overall for 2025, and it takes place here at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. 2.5 miles of a quite difficult racetrack for many drivers who haven't even seen this place before, and for 7 of our 42 drivers, there's no place like home, and they're looking for a good showing here in front of the Canadian crowd. But with Ryan Griffin alongside me in the booth for this race, as is usually the case, there's only 3 races remaining, 2 after this race, until we reset for the playoffs. And yes, the cut line is fairly defined between 10th and 11th, but a lot can change over the course of the next 26 laps here today.
Oh, you summed it up best there at the very end. A lot can change. Right now, the way the points are, basically second or third through 16th is the range, with was essentially 3 races to go, 2 after today. And as we've seen in these last few weeks, you could jump your way in and just as easily fall your way out in one race. So going to the first, I guess you could say the first road course of the year, you throw in this other element too of doing a discipline that a lot of these guys are not normally used to doing. And this could make for some very interesting plays. We could see some guys leap their way into being factors that we wouldn't think would be factors because of the discipline. So it's definitely going to be fun. I know I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of races, but it might give you a different perspective being up here versus being down there behind the wheel.
And it's especially the case because every corner matters. It's not so much hitting your marks every time around. It's making sure you get the most out of every corner, because some of them chain one after the other, one corner into the next. It's not like an oval where you have one set of corners, then a long straightaway to reorient yourself. These corners come heavy and fast at you, and the way things are running right now, it's going to be a lot of fun watching these 42 drivers take on 26 laps here today. And you mentioned it, we both mentioned it, that cut line, it currently sits at 17 points between Justin Whitmer in 10th position and Blaine Saylor in 11th overall. But the key for these guys is Saylor starts today in the top 10, 7th place. Justin Whitmer has to come from deep in the field in 22nd. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but this is a big opportunity for that 08 team to make up a ton of ground.
And we've seen in recent weeks speed out of both those trucks. So it's going to be interesting to see, and especially for Whitmer, come from the back on a track here like Montreal or a track like Beausport, that it's so hard to try to gain track position as it is. Now you throw in the element that you start back there, the element pressure of knowing where you are in points. It's going to be very fun to watch the likes of Whitmer and others like him try to come from the back over the course of today.
Yeah, so Justin Whitmer is going to have his work cut out for him, but I believe that New England Cruisers Racing has given him what he needs to make the charge up. He's starting 22nd on the outside, but with a little bit of attrition at the start, which can oftentimes happen on these road courses. Wouldn't shock me at all to see him make up at least a few positions in the opening stages. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's 26 laps of action at Canadian Tire, and to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Paul Villalobos on pole position. He has an opportunity to clinch a spot in the playoffs here today with a good enough run. He's got a 120-point margin above the cut line. If he can maintain that, he's pretty much good to go. But alongside him is Dennis Kurdyashov in this 99. He has been waiting for his opportunity to go road course racing this year because this is his wheelhouse. He knows how to get it done at this style of racing. Plus, he already has a win at a track less suited to him. So imagine what he can do starting from outside pole at a track he really knows what to do at.
And he's the one, honestly, in the starting grid that I'm going to be watching here because we know his expertise is this style of racing. And this is his opportunity. He already answered that by qualifying outside pole. The question is, can he translate that into race pace? And some of the pace we've seen out of the 99 this year on tracks that we know are not his suit. I am very interested to see how he does today, and would not be shocked maybe if we're calling the 99 to victory lane at the end of the day today.
Well, we've got a lot of challengers lining up alongside him, behind him, every which way, that are going to give him a run for his money today, namely the two Robbers Racing teammates starting first and third, Villalobos and Curtis Stevenson. But with that being said, we have 42 drivers ready to take the green flag at Canadian Tire. We are ready to bring you that action now. It is the 1-Up Turbo Truck Series from Motorsports, race number 11 of the season, and the green flag is getting set to get this great race underway, so stay tuned for that. All set for 26 laps of racing north of the border. It is Villalobos and Kudyashov on the front row. Green flag is out. We're racing at Motorsports, and looks like it's a pretty even start for the top two. However, I expect that 66 to get a good launch off the line, and sure enough, he does. Through turn one, he is clear for the lead. Now Stevenson trying to take a look on the 99.
You quick look at the back to the front, but again, the 66 has pretty much shown that they've had the speed week in, week out. And you put them on the pole at a track here at Motorsport where it's all about track position, and he tried to take it early here. It gets the edge over the 99. It looks like Stevenson will hang on to third against the 51, who takes over the fourth position.
Yeah, Stoyan in the 51, he started there, so very good qualifying effort for that 51 group, and I expect them to be a contender all race long from the Fitzwater Australia Racing Camp. But through the hairpin we go, onto the long back straightaway here at Motorsport. This is one of the best opportunities to make a pass at the end of this straightaway here, as it looks like the top 5, probably even the top 10 now, single file as we weave our way down the straight.
Come up this long straightaway. Yeah, as you said, it's a good opportunity to set up a pass down here to the other end of the track. It looks like nobody really... Oh, we have one... That's McFadden.
Yeah, and that's what... Yeah, he must have had an accident somewhere on the course, and that's really unfortunate for him. He was one of our Canadian drivers in the field. There were 7 of them to start the race, and we've got at least one in McFadden already out of the race, it seems. As we complete the first lap, Villalobos has a lead of about 6.5 tenths of a second over to 99. I'm curious if there's anyone else that got caught up in that mess with McFadden or not, because, yeah, sure enough there is, and it's Vince Freeze in the 81 with smoke pouring out of the back, William Ayers in the 11, and Rhodes Gray in the 10. That's 2 of the Crossroads Racing teammates.
Yeah, already right off the bat, and, well, that's... The other thing you're going to note here about the road course is because we're running the road course, you can see an incident like this and there not be a full course yellow. I'm sure there's a local slowdown over there right now, but yeah, already 2 trucks torn up, and Vince Freeze, who has been kind of the newest prospect, unfortunately is not going to get through the early lap here at Motorsport. So hopefully we'll get a look here and in a little bit be able to find out exactly what happened, but man, that's McFadden and Rhodes Gray, 2 of our top guys in the championship right now, too.
And Gray was 9th in the points. He was 35 points above the cut line, but like we said, one bad result can easily change all that. And when you consider that guys like Blaine Saylor, Derek Hamill, Dennis Kudyashov, they're all in the top 10 right now. So Gray could easily fall out of the top 10 in points as a result of this. I think the 2 Crossroads trucks will be able to continue with a little bit of repair work going on. Yeah, they've already done their repairs and made their way out of the pits, but for John McFadden and Vince Freeze, game over on lap 1.
And, I can say this as a driver, been in that position. It sucks when it happens on the very first lap of the race. Hell, it happened to me here in a series at this very racetrack, very first lap, and it's unfortunate when it happens, but there's not much you can do except try to salvage as much as you can. Unfortunately for Freeze and for McFadden, it looks like their day is completely done on lap 1. But at least sometimes you're able to get yourself going again, where you can salvage more of the day. But it sucks when it happens.
Yeah, you see, oh wow, Villalobos took a little wide line through the hairpin. That's going to allow Kudyashov to get right on his back bumper down the straightaway. He's going to try and set up a pass at the end of it, but we did see a moment ago Rhodes Gray and William Ayers, they are back out on the racetrack. They are on the very tail end of the lead lap. We'll see if they're able to make good speed or not after their repairs have been made. But look at the 99, he's making a huge move. on the 66 to try to get this race lead away. Kudyashov not wanting to waste much time. He knows that the early stage of the race is the best time to make passes.
Yeah, and I was going to almost make mention of it when we cross that section. That one section of the right-hander, the two sharp right-handers, that's a good area. If somebody runs wide out of that second right-hander, going down that long straightaway, if somebody can get a run, you can make a pass down that long straightaway. And that's what the 99 was trying to do there when Paul ran wide, was he was trying to stay close enough to get that run. Unfortunately, was not able to do anything with it at the moment, but I guarantee you he's going to be chomping at the bit, waiting for him to make that, wait to see if he runs wide again off that corner.
Yeah, and we're looking at that 51 of Stoyan. He's got the entire hopes of Fitzwater Australia Racing on his shoulders now, because his teammate Vince Freeze got crashed out of the race on the opening lap. So Stoyan's got a lot of work to do to get his way up to the front. He's already in 4th place, which is a great run for this race team. He had the best result of the season of 3rd. That came at Daytona to start the season. He'd love to get his first top 10 of the season since then, though, as it looks like Curtis Stevenson in the 6th truck is making a run at the 99 to try and make it a Robbers Racing 1-2 at the front.
And Cam Stevenson is another one we've seen over the last few weeks that has really come on strong in that 6th truck, and this is an opportunity for Cam. I honestly think he's capable of winning a race. He just needs to, they just need to put the full race together, and who knows, maybe it'll be today as he tries to look on that 99 for the 2nd position.
Yeah, we've seen how Curtis Stevenson is able to perform in these races. He led the most laps at Springfield, was in position to win at Charlotte before getting shuffled out late. He's got the speed, does Curtis Stevenson, to win these races, but he's just got to put it all together, and he's running in 3rd right now, which is a very strong performance for this 6 team. But he probably couldn't have picked 2 worse guys to try and pass on a road course. Paul Villalobos, his teammate, and Denis Kudyashov running 2nd.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of like, having been there as a driver too, it's funny that you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're running well, you got an opportunity, but the 2 guys that you have to get around are the 2, I guess you could say 2 of the guys that have way more experience on the discipline we're running, and it's kind of unfortunate that's what you run into, but he's still running 3rd. He's still trying to hold off the 51. So the 51 got a pretty good run through those 2 right-handers. You can see if you can try to set up Stevenson here to try to make a move.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be a fun spot to watch all day, is those 2 right-handers, and see who can get a run down this long straightaway to set up for the right and left-hander down here.
But for now, it's been the Paul Villalobos show out front. He's led all 4 laps so far. He's about to lead his 5th lap of the day. And he's not pulling out that big a lead, honestly, because look, the 99 has been there this whole time. The margin is only 0.4 of a second. If Kudyashov can get a good run out of that hairpin, he is going to be ready to make us move going into the right-hander after the back straightaway.
Well, we said it before. It even not so much, obviously this is the first road race of the season, but we said it before on the old track. Sometimes you just have to put yourself in a position, and your competition makes a mistake, you're there to take advantage of it. And that's kind of what the 99 is trying to do. It's kind of what the 6 is trying to do, and even the 51, if you want to throw them into this 4-truck kind of blanket here at the front. You just wait for sometimes just being consistent, waiting for your opponent to make that little bit move, like right
this.
here. The 66 is going to run wide. The 99 is going to try to get a run up here. I think he should have been a little closer to his right side if he wanted to try to make a move down here, but he's going to try to peek a little bit maybe down here. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. You just got to kind of sit on your opponent's back bumper, wait for that little bit, that one little mistake.
Or you could put the bumper to the back of him like he just did. Move him up the racetrack, and there goes Kudyashov. He's alongside Villalobos now. The 99 nosing out ahead through the final 2 corners, and he's got the inside line through the last turn. He's clear for the lead on lap number 6, getting his elbows out, putting a little bumper-to-bumper action here on the road course.
You see what it was, too, is the door opened up, and sometimes the door opens up, you just kind of, okay, I'll just walk my way through. In this case, the 99 was like, I'm going to put my foot in this opening and open it wider, and that's exactly what he did, put a little bit of a bumper to the 66, and, well, he's the man out front right now. Now he's just got to hope that Paul doesn't get back to him. Okay, I remember the bumper you gave me. Maybe I'll give you a bumper back.
Well, he's got to get there first, and I think that 99 is going to do whatever he can to run off into the distance and prevent that from happening. But we know how strong a competitor Villalobos is. He is not going to take that kindly. If he ever gets an opportunity to repay the favor, he is going to do so. As we make our way out of the hairpin now down the back straightaway here, as it looks like further back in the picture, AF Walsh in the 02, who started 5th. He's still running in 5th. He got a little wide onto the grass out of the hairpin, and that's opened the door for Blaine Saylor in the 08, who's gotten past Francois Chastain for 6th place. He might try and go for 5th as well.
And Saylor's one who's, at this point, he's trying to count as many positions and try to get as many points as he can. I think he knows at this point he's got some pace in his truck, but obviously probably not any to actually catch the 99 at the moment for the lead. So he's trying to get any position, any point he can get at this point right now. At any point here or there could make the difference as far as who makes this playoffs this year.
And don't look now, but I'm looking a little further up the road from these leaders. William Ayers in that 11 truck, he is a little off the pace. Not enough to be black flagged for minimum speed. Not that we have that rule on most road courses anyway. But Ayers is right up ahead, and if these guys catch him at a weird enough spot, that could open the door for a lot more guys to join in on that battle for the lead. And keep in mind as well, we're not that far away from our first round of pit stops either. What these guys might be thinking is the moment they catch that 11 truck, that's when they're going to try and make that pit stop because they don't want to deal with the lap traffic.
That would make the most sense. You split this race, it's a 2-stop race, you kind of split it into thirds as close as you can. And you might be right. You don't want to be in lap traffic. You don't want to be held up by the lap truck. So maybe about the moment you catch him is when you're going to hit pit road. But I'll tell you what, this 66 is one thing on his mind. That's he wants to get back by this 99. He looked like he was going to make a run at him there, but he lost a little bit of ground there going through the left-hander.
No, the reason he went wide there is because the 99's coming to pit road this time. It's exactly what we thought. He is committing himself to a pit stop to prevent himself from having to deal with William Ayers in that 11. So the 99 is on pit road at the end of lap 8. That's a little early. You'd want to wait at least until the end of lap 9 to make sure you're able to commit to make a 2-stop race work. And critically, he is the only one who's hit pit road this time by.
But we'll see how this works out, because we've seen this work in different ways. Now, the 66, by contrast to the 99, he's going to have to deal with this 11 truck at least until we get back around to pit entry if he likes to pit on this lap. So we're going to have to, I'm curious to see the difference here. The 99 didn't get held up by the lap truck. He pitted, had nobody on pit road, so they had a clean entry and what is looking like to be a clean exit. I'm curious to see in relation to this 66 how this plays out.
Because look, he is right on the back bumper of Ayers in the 11. So Villalobos, he pulls out to the right-hand side. He's going to try and make this pass cleanly. He's going to bring his teammate in the 6 with him, Curtis Stevenson. They're both going to pass Ayers without much difficulty. I think that the floodgates have started to creep open now. Once this 99 made his pit stop, I would expect a lot more to make the move this time by, now that they know they can make it on 2 stops. And look, there's the 66 on his way in.
And they will hit pit road. The 66 is in. Looks like the AF Walsh is going to join him in the 02. See if anybody else joins him. Yep, the 08 is in, the 1, the 59. So we got a couple that actually stayed out, I noticed.
Yeah, Stevenson
obviously the 6
out,
to 51, but
Stevenson stayed out, Stoyan stayed out. Yeah,
again, I'll be interested to see again. The 99 had a clean entry, clean exit. There was nobody around him. He didn't have to deal with the lap truck. I'm curious what kind of lap times he can run and what kind of gap he's going to have versus the 66 and the rest of the leaders who basically had to deal with the lap truck and all came together. So
yeah, there they are.
It looks like F. Walsh actually flipped the 66.
Yeah, he did. So either the 66 had a slow stop or the 02 had a fast one. Either way, the 02 has jumped Villalobos in the pit lane, so that should be in that second in this race for AF Walsh, unless the trucks that overcut Curtis Stevenson and Jojen Stoyan, if they're able to have a clean cycle on pit road, maybe they'll be able to stick themselves into the conversation.
And the other thing I note too is the gap that's going to be there between the 99 and now will be the provision. It will be the provisional the O2 right now, which is in the what could be second place depending on how it works out with these guys. But that gap grew because prior to the pit stop, the 66 was all over the back bumper of the 99. So again, what I said about the 99 pitting, when he did, he had no traffic around him, didn't have to deal with the lap truck, and look at the gap he's put on the two behind him who pit a lap later.
Yes, however, he is going to have the oldest tires in the field now, and he's a little uncertain on if he can make it on two stops, considering he pitted on lap 8. If he pits again at lap 16, he'd have to go to lap 24 and then pit again. That's a 3-stopper, which is certainly not how you want to do this race. As Stevenson now exits his pit stall, Walsh, I think, is going to clear to 6, or they're at least going to be side by side, and sure enough they are going down the hill. Walsh is clear, but Stevenson as well has jumped his teammate in the 66.
Yeah, I don't know if the 66, again, he came in as the leader, so again, I wonder if that time, he may have lost a little time dealing with that. Well, we saw him and Stevenson both get around the lap truck, no problem, but I wonder if they had a hiccup at the pit stop or something in the pit stall, because to see him lose that many positions, they must have had a hiccup on the stop in some way for him to lose that much ground.
Yeah, when the cycle began, he was second place behind the 99. He's come out now in 4th place behind his teammate Stevenson. I wonder if they're going to orchestrate a swap here at Robbers Racing to try and get the 66 into as good a position as he can to lock himself into the playoffs today. But as you see, William Ayers is now holding up everyone behind him, and that's starting with 5th place in the 51. That's Stoyan.
But you got a little bit of a battle there too. Stoyan and Blaine Saylor were battling there for the position, as Hamill's going to join that fight, as well as DJ Curtis. And of course, they're trying to work around the 11 at the same time as they're racing for position here on track.
And there's Chastain joining the conversation as well in the 1. He's been a steady presence in the top 10 in points all season. He's yet to get a win this season, but with still one more pit stop to go, if you can just keep yourself in the conversation, never say never.
But there's some guys I want to mention. Obviously, we mentioned Saylor before the start, but Hamill's another one. Derek Hamill, the 59. He came in here just below the cut line for making the playoffs too, and he's having a decent run. Started P8, running P7. So that's another truck of the... Again, we mentioned Saylor already, but that's 2 trucks that needed to come in here and have a good run to keep themselves with a chance to make the playoffs. And there's 2 guys that have shown some speed this season in a couple of races and had some great finishes, but you need to tighten it up a little bit more. It seems like they're tightening it up at least here today on the road course.
And in addition to them, the 99, who was right behind those 2 in the points, he was only 21 points out. He's leading this race quite handsomely, so he's going to probably jump into the top 10 at the rate he's going, probably displacing Rhodes Gray as a result, but we still have just over half this race to go. A lot can still happen. And here we see a battle for 10th place brewing between Samantha Jade, Alex Sanvital, Johnny DiLorenzo, and Ludovic Charat.
It seems too that we're also kind of seeing... Yeah, I see a couple shots. It's like you get a couple of trucks that are racing for a position, like 3 or 4 trucks that are racing for a spot, and then there'll be a little bit of a gap, and then there's another 3 or 4 truck group that are racing for a spot. So you got to take advantage of the opportunities to get a position when they come up, because as we can see, the 99's checked out. There's a gap to the O2. There's another gap back to the teammate battle there for 3rd. And then, of course, we got that kind of 4-way battle there that was between the 51, the 08, 59, and the 1. So it seems like we're seeing these little patches of battles. It's like you got to take advantage, because you don't want to give up an opportunity to gain a position here and gain a point or 2, or put yourself in better position for when this last round of pit stops happens.
Yeah, and you mentioned this lead, the 99 of Kudryashov, the lead he has over AF Walsh. I've got the feeling that O2 is starting to push the button to go. He has starting to cut that gap down. It was over 3 seconds on the previous lap. It's now 2.8. I'm curious what it's going to be this time by, but I wonder if the 99's just pacing himself, trying to stretch his equipment out to make it a two-stop race. Regardless of the reason, this 02 is gaining time.
And we'll keep an eye on this 02 too, because I'm interested to see how they do on this last stop because of how much time they gained on what was then the 60, ahead of the ones ahead of them prior to the stops. I'm curious to see if he gains any more time on this last stop, because they nailed a great stop that last time by to put him in second place right now. So we'll see if they can nail another good one and maybe eat into more of the lead on the 99, depending on when the 99 pits as well.
And going back to what we were talking about, digging into that lead, he just took another 0.6 out of that lead on the previous lap. It's now 2.1 seconds. This 02 is flying along, and it won't be long, I feel, until he catches this 99. I wonder if it's going to be a similar story to earlier when the 99 caught the 11 to put him a lap down. If the moment the 02 catches the 99, that's when Kudryashov is going to make his final pit stop.
Well, we saw it kind of somewhat pay off for the 99 as far as the track position after the first stop. Will anybody else pounce with the 99 at the same time now? Now that they saw what the 99 did, will another team kind of pounce with them at the same time? And that's what I'm going to be looking at too.
Another thing to keep in mind is that this 99, he can't afford to short pit every single time, because if he does that, he's going to commit himself to a 3-stop, and that's never going to win you the race at the rate they're going. So, and look at that, the lead's gone down by another about 1/4 to 0.3 of a second. So this 02 is definitely gaining, and gaining a lot, but this 99, he can't afford to just jump into the pits early again. He's got to stretch his stuff out till at least about lap 18 or so.
And I'm wondering if that's what they're doing. I wonder if he backed off his pace possibly to make sure that they have enough to make this on one more stop versus having to make 2 again. Granted, I think the 02 is probably quicker at this point as well, but I wonder if that may have been the factor for one of the reasons for why the 02 is running him down, is because they know, again, thinking big picture with where they are in the points, you make a 3-stop race, you completely take your shot at gaining good points out of the realm of possibility. So maybe that's what they're doing, is they're backing his pace down to make sure they can make it on one more stop. And, if it gives them a little bit, if they lose a little bit of time right now, it's fine to give up a little bit of time right now versus when you need it most, which is that last little stint.
And I'm very curious what the margin is going to be at the line, because AF Walsh has gained a lot of time on this.
It's going to be under a second, most likely.
Absolutely. We're coming to 11 laps to go here. He cut the gap down there by about 1.2 seconds. He is right there, within half a second of the lead. I would expect the pass to be made within the next lap or two, and I don't think there's much the 99 can really do about it.
Well, we're talking about the 02 running down the 99. Obviously, that's what we're looking at with the lead. I noticed the 51 and the 08 have caught the teammate battle for third as well. They cut that gap down, and now they're within a second of the teammate. So there might be a big 4-way battle for third here before this thing's over.
Absolutely, and with the teammates battling for third position the way they are, they have lost touch with this lead battle completely. So going to be interesting to see what they could possibly do on the final round of pit stops to try and gain a little more time. Because look, there you see him in the background. Stoyan and Saylor have definitely caught up, but they're miles behind the 99 and the 02. And I think now at this point in the run, the 99's been given the go-ahead to start using a little more pace again, because he's starting to pull a bit of a gap again to the 02.
And again, I just wonder if it was the team on the radio knowing, it was a kind of a smart play to pit early because it gave you track position. But yeah, take the realm of possibly making a third pit stop out by conserving your stuff and making sure you can make it on one more, even if that means giving up a little bit of the lead, which I think is what they did. And so far, we'll see how the last stop goes. But I think that was kind of a smart play to kind of, okay, let's conserve our stuff here. If we give up a little bit of time, 02, we give up a little bit of time. Just let's keep him within distance, like the idea of just keeping your opponent under your thumb, right where you can know where they're at.
I think, looking at the leaderboard, I think we've already had a couple of guys in the top 10 starting to make their final pit stops, because you mentioned Blaine Saylor closing in on the teammates. He's now a couple seconds back. I think he's made his final pit stop at a race, and I think DJ Curtis in the 22, he has as well. So I think the window's open now for these guys to make it to the end of the race on one more stop, and I think the floodgates are starting to open up once again, with the 08 and the 22 being the guinea pigs for everyone else.
Yeah, well, we saw a lot of the chunk of the field pit on lap 9 to begin the first cycle. So as we come basically to 9 to go, yeah, it would not surprise me to see the good chunk of the field pit this time by, and they'll be good to go to the end of the race. So it's everybody just trying to set up, get the best positioning they can before the stops actually kick off, or the majority of the stops kick off, to get themselves in the best position to make this push to the end of the race. So, and we'll see also where Saylor and Curtis come out, because how early they pitted. We'll see how they come out in relation to these other guys.
Speaking of the 99, he's made his final pit stop right here. He's going to try and short pit on the 02 again. And at least now, we know he's able to make it to the end of the race. My question becomes, will he have a big lead like he had before, or has he been caught with his pants down a little bit by Saylor and Curtis, who got the jump on him?
Well, I will say what is notable again with the 99, because it looked like it again, he had a clean pit road on both entry and exit. So that could be the difference maker, I think. I think the 02... Granted, we did see the 02 take a big chunk of time out in his first stop too, so we'll have to see which one gets the bigger chunk of time here. Is it the 02 or is it the 99? Man, these teammates continue to battle for position on the racetrack.
Yeah, and they both have different agendas here. Stevenson entered this race plus 47 on the cut line, 6th in the points. He wants to get another good finish to vault himself possibly into the top 5 in points for the first time this season. Well, to 66, he just wants to bring his car home in one piece to secure a playoff spot. And here comes Walsh into the pit lane. This is going to be a moment of the race right here. He's going to bring the 66 with him. But critically, once again, Curtis Stevenson and Jojen Stoyan, they stay out another lap.
And we'll have to see which, again, I think so far it looks like that strat that the 99 was working is what's paid off. I mean, he has led the good chunk of this race, so it's just going to be a matter of seeing which one actually pays off here. Can the 02 team reel off a good enough stop to keep pace with the 99, pitting one lap earlier?
Because critically, the 99 has come out ahead of both the 08 and the 22, and by quite a decent margin. But here he comes, leaving the pits. Where is AF Walsh? There he is. He's on his way out. This is going to be really close between those two.
Big gain on Walsh's team, though. I mean, that's a big gain. That's another good stop for that 02 truck. And I think it's going to get him the provisional lead here.
The problem he's got, though, is that he's got a lap truck, or at least a truck not for position, right in front of him. And again, this 66 is just having a bit of a tough time today on pit road. He's lost out again, this time to the 08 of Blaine Saylor. And I'm curious where Stevenson and Stoyan are going to cycle out. They could both jump him as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and a big bunch of traffic in front of the leaders right now. So what will be the provisional leaders, we're thinking, once the stop cycle. But a big bunch of traffic in front of them right now. This could help these guys that are pitting here right now if they can rattle off a good enough stop.
Yeah, we're about to find out, aren't we? Because I would imagine everyone ahead of the leaders will pit this time to make it to the end of the race. Yes, you see Walsh and Kudyashov, they go a little wide through that corner, give these guys enough space to make that pit stop, and sure enough, that's what they're doing. But that's allowed the 99 to get right onto the back of Walsh once again. Stevenson, of course, will lead the lap. He'll get a bonus point for his troubles, but yeah, there's Stevenson. He's not gonna get out ahead, but
those guys.
Critically, Blaine Saylor's gotten ahead of all of them. So the 08 now in a podium position in the late stages here at Motorsports.
Yeah, big gain for the 08. Again, a team that we talked about it being on the bubble coming in the day. They needed a good point run, and right now they're getting it. And we still got a
Absolutely.
battle for the race lead here, and I'm telling you, I have to tip my hat to this O2 pit crew today because both stops today, this team has gained ground, and critically, that pit crew has put this O2 ahead as we'll be coming to 6 laps to go. And catching them's one thing, passing's another. Granted, I know we got the lap truck of Rhodes Gray ahead, but man, you got to tip your hat to this O2 crew to put them in the position. They gained them so much in the first one that it put them in an opportunity to try to get the lead here. And man, if he ends up pulling this out, I know he's going to be thanking his pit crew probably by the day's done.
Yeah, and honestly, who can blame them? They've put together a great run. And the thing about the position AF Walsh is in right now, yes, he's got Rhodes Gray directly ahead of him. That's not helping matters. But he does have fresher tires than the 99, and he's ahead. So that's only going to get better for him as the run progresses. We now have 6 laps to go, but it's imperative for this O2 that he gets past the 10 of Rhodes Gray very quickly.
Well, the thing is he's got to peak on the 10 before the 99 can peak on him, and that's kind of why they're in the little chain that they are there. It's you want to peak on the lap truck, get around him before your opponent peaks on you. And critically, actually, I noticed this has pulled the 08 right into this fight.
Yeah,
he may be faster before this thing's over.
I was going to mention the exact same thing. This infighting between the 2 leaders and the lap truck, that's allowed Sailor to draw a bead right onto their tailpipes. This is going to be a 3-truck battle for this win if all goes to plan for the 08 team.
And again, critically, we've talked about it more than once today, the 99 and the 08 and their bubble fight right now, they're staring at a win right in front of them, each of them is. So, not necessarily guaranteeing that a win is going to get you locked in, but it could put you at a way better standing as we've seen. So, these guys are going to have to, we know these guys are going to go for it as we'll come to 5 to go. Walsh is going to critically clear Rhodes Gray. Looks like the 99 will possibly off these last 2 corners.
And that's not what Blaine Sailor wanted. He wanted these guys to be stuck behind this 10 for a little while longer, because now Sailor's going to have to deal with Rhodes Gray as well.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say the 99 is clear yet. They're still side by side up the straightaway, so if Sailor can try to get there,
it's just
going to not still be a real possibility. Granted, now that they both have cleared Gray, it's going to be a little more challenging. But I was going to say, when we said that, the 99 was still side by side with the 10, so it wasn't like it was clear for the 99 yet.
Not yet, but now he is. And the thing about this now is that him battling with that 10 for as long as he was, that's allowed Walsh to now pull out a little bit of a lead over the 99. And remember, like I said a little bit ago, the 02 has a lap or 2 fresher tires than the 99, and that, like I said before, that is only going to get better for him as the run progresses, because Kadyrushov's tires are going to go off sooner than Walsh's, and that could open the door for Sailor, and heck, even Curtis Stevenson in this 6, who's drawing a bead on the 08 for the final podium place.
And something else I want to bring up too, when this year started out, we looked at the 66 obviously as the clear title contender, but this 02 truck started off the season so strong, and he won Richmond against the 66. And really, since that race, he really has not quite shown the pace as the early part of the season. So kind of neat to see the speed kind of come back as we get closer to the playoffs, when you really critically need to have your speed again, is in the playoffs, as we've seen. And the 02 is starting to show the speed again. So we might want to keep our eye on this 02 car again, or the 02 truck again, as a contender, a challenger for these playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun seeing the 66 and the 02, and who knows, maybe even more contenders battle it out for a championship later this year. But Walsh entered this race 49 points above the cut line. He was in a 3-way tie for 3rd in the points, but that's going to change if he can hang on to win this race today, as the battle for 3rd starting to heat up more. This 6 truck, and with Sailor going wide at the second of the 2 right-handers, he's going to try and get alongside the 08 to try and take 3rd away.
Yep, going to try to use those long straightaways. We said you get that little run coming out of that second right-hander. I'll tell you, this 99 is not going to go away, though. He's closed the gap. He's back on the 02's back bumper. So he's not going to let him get away as they'll come to 3 to go. And the 99 knows his opportunity's there to try to sneak another win and put himself in better standing for the playoffs. But yeah, he's going to have to take this fight to this 02. He's got 3 laps to do it.
And let's see what the gap is. He's cut it in half, did the 99, so that's good progress for him. He's going to need to do a little more than that if he's going to try and get this win away from AF Walsh. And a little shout out I want to give as well before this race ends. Johnny DiLorenzo in the 77 for Incendia Motorsports. He only has 1 top 10 this season, and he's kind of low in the points. But this is, and he will admit himself, he's a little better on the ovals. But a good run like this, out of track type he's not suited to, like we said it with Kadyrashov before, a good run for DiLorenzo here in 9th place at the moment, that would do great things for his season.
Yeah, it's a confidence booster. If anything else, it's a confidence booster. It shows, hey, even at a track type that may not necessarily be my best, we came out of here with a top 10 run or a top 10 finish. That's what you're going to look at the end of the day is, hey, we came out of there with a top 10 finish. You know, that's what something you can hang your hat on, something you can go back and say, hey, we did this, and it was something notable, it was something good. So ultimately, as it looks like Walsh has made it, I think he pulled the gap this lap on the 99 a little bit more.
Yeah, he definitely has, and we're coming to 2 laps of racing to go. I think Walsh now at this point, there's no more lap traffic, not for at least half a lap. So all he's got to do now is focus on not making any mistakes, hitting every apex, nailing every corner. Because look, he's pulled the lead back out to about 0.8 of a second again. If he can just keep doing that, he should be good to cruise home to win. But it's never that easy, is it?
Never that easy, especially on a road. Well, especially more so on a road course where you have to hit your marks, so you have to keep hitting your marks consistently. And you know, as we've seen, one little mistake can cost you a position. We've seen how many guys have run wide off that second right-hander and allowed opportunities for people to pass. Man, the race for third is really tightened up. Now it's just more than just Saylor and Stevenson that are racing there. The 51 has caught that battle. I think the 66 is now into that battle.
It looks like one truck couldn't make it on 2 stops. That's the 93 of Jeremy Frey, and that's a big shame for the 93. He was running in the top 20, and he entered this race only 23 points below the cut line. This really isn't gonna help him that much. As is Jean-Raphael Bedard in this 2 truck. He wasn't as close in the points, but a home race for the 2 truck, and he had to make a late pit stop, as did his teammate Zach Fry. So that's a double whammy for Crown Ultra Racing, who've already confirmed to us they will not be returning for 2026.
Well, we'll come around to the white flag, and I tell you what, the 99 is not giving up, though. He has clawed this back to the bumper of the 02, and he's going to at least give him a punch. he may not land, but he's going to at least give him a punch and let him know that he's going to at least challenge for it. I think he's going to have to take his opportunity down on those 2 right-handers, though, and maybe hope that the 08 run or the 02 runs wide.
Yeah, that's his only hope at this point, is for the 02 to have a bad exit of that hairpin and for him to capitalize on it. Because at this point, it looks like we got a couple more on pit road late. Joshua Warren in the 88, who is running deep in the field anyway. We're making our way now up the hill, back down it now. The battle for third still raging between Saylor, Stevenson, Stoyan, and even Villalobos joining that fight. But back up at the front, this is the moment of truth right here for AF Walsh. Looks like he does run a little wide, but so does the 99.
Yeah, I think at this point, AF Walsh, I think is going to be looking to add a 2 into that win column. His win total this season will be the same, kind of roughly the same as his truck number.
And while the battle for third rages on, we're still excited to see who wins out there. But coming through the final S's for the final time, AF Walsh hasn't won since the early part of the season at Richmond, like you said, but he's certainly turned up the pressure in recent weeks, and as he grounds the final corner, he's going to hold off a fast-charging Denis Kadyrashov and score the victory here at Canadian Tire for his 2nd career win, his 2nd of the season, and this is going to do wonders for him in the fight for the championship. As look, Saylor just barely holds off Stevenson by about 1/10 of a second for the final spot on the podium.
Again, good point days all around for a couple of guys. as we said, the 99 second, the 08 hangs on for third, Hamill in eighth. So, that's three guys that were below the cut line coming in that had good top 10 runs, good point days. That I see how the points fall after this race, but those are top 10 runs that top 10 runs can get runs like today can get you into the playoffs depending on how things sort out. So but today's all about this 02 team, and especially this pit crew on this 02 team too, and being able to get them the track position, and Walsh did the rest.
Absolutely. Spare a thought as well for Jojen Stoyan getting his first top 5 since Daytona. Ironically enough, for Paul Villalobos, it's his first top 10 of the season that has not been a top 5 finish, but this is the result that's got him enough points to lock himself up into a playoff spot. He will be racing for a championship in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, there's no question that he is definitely going to be a factor in this year. I mean, he's pretty much proven it for much of this season, and now officially he has locked his way into the playoffs for this year. So that team can focus. Like, granted, they're going to be focused next week to try to win a race, but they're going to be focused on getting things ready for the playoffs and making sure they come out strong in the playoffs or come off as strong in the playoffs as they have already this season.
And one last thought before we get you a replay of the opening lap incident with McFadden and Freeze. Spare a thought for Johnny DiLorenzo. Was running top 10 up until the very end, got ganged up on by the New England Cruisers teammates of Jade and Chastain. Still in 11th place, a solid enough outing for the 77 team that were really in need of a good day, as the rest of the field piles into the pit lane to commemorate the end of another great truck race. We will get you a replay, though, in just a few moments of what happened on the opening lap of the race. So this was on the opening corners of the race. John McFadden was running in pretty much a single file line, running it just outside the top 15. Something must have gone awry it was a big stack up going into the next corner, and Rose Gray just plows into the back of him. Vince Freeze piles in for good measure. William Ayers. It's just a big stack up, and with that much dust being kicked up,
I don't know. I believe that was Grigsby in the 26, almost just barely avoided creaming the 98 there and ending his day early. But unfortunately, Rose Gray not able to avoid McFadden in that stack up, and Freeze tore up. And man, it's just unfortunate. As none of these guys do it, as they stacked up and nowhere you can go. And man, Cal Farrell with a moment there and into the two right-handers.
One more look at this, and I'm curious where this stack up actually starts. Oh, it looks like it starts all the way back up with. Oh, I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if that was I don't know if that was a stack up or if the 10 just missed his braking point and plowed into the 98.
Well, it also looked like somebody kind of ran off there because you can see the dust kick up. So I wonder if somebody ran off and everybody kind of was panicked there because there was a dust up. Like, okay, did somebody run off? Did somebody sit there? It could have been not necessarily a checkup, but at least a little slowdown enough to where, unfortunately, everybody had to react. And unfortunately for Freeze and for McFadden and Gray and a couple others, it effectively ended their day on lap 1.
It's a tough break for those guys, but they'll be able to regroup and go after it again in our next truck race, which is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. It'll be at the Indianapolis Raceway Park, alongside the other series on their Brickyard Weekend, and if memory serves me correct, I believe you'll be entered in that one. So looking forward to seeing a return to the Truck Series action from a different perspective this time around. Yeah,
it'll be we put a deal together where we got a truck we're starting and got a guy lined up to run a couple races this year, but I'm going to be in IRP next week, so you won't hear me in the commentary booth next week, but I'll be back the following week to pick it up again, and we'll be basically after Indianapolis, one race to go to the playoffs. So the clinching race. So it'll be fun to go race with these guys a little bit, shake the rust off of the Truck Series, and have fun doing that.
Absolutely. But until we see you guys from IRP, from Ryan Griffin and from myself as well, thanks for joining us at Canadian Tire for a great race, all things considered. Congratulations to A.F. Walsh on his second career victory, his second of the season, as our playoff field is starting to take shape. One spot's been locked up. Who will claim the other 9?